Avery, a young and stunning woman with a promising future, embraced life with unbridled passion. Her love extended to everything around her: people, flora, and fauna. She found joy in observing birds, gathering flowers, and collecting medical herbs. Despite growing up with parents who were addicts, she remained untouched by the harsh realities of the world. Uninterested in substances, she immersed herself in singing and dancing, embodying a fairy tale princess. Her untimely departure left a profound emptiness felt by everyone who knew her. The moment a colossal grizzly bear seized her by the neck and carried her skinny little body away, her brother witnessed the event in disbelief, shock, and an unsettling sense of guilt. What's up, guys? Iceman here. So, this story is about a young woman who was very special and had a very unfortunate encounter with a grizzly bear. It's one of the most horrifying and heartbreaking tales that I've told on this channel, so I warn you to take heed. But before I get into it, I'd like to thank you all for your support on this channel. And if you will, paw that like button, subscribe to the page, and swat that bell so you're notified next time I post a video. And if you want to support me further, you can become a channel member or a patron. Links in the description below. And blessings to my channel members and patrons. So let's get into this chilling tale. "Oh, Blake," the young woman's voice rang out with vibrant excitement, causing her to tremble with enthusiasm. "Have you ever beheld something so utterly marvelous?" Her dainty fingers gently cradled the butterfly-like purple flower, emerging gracefully from a cluster of narrow green leaves. "Packard's milk vetch." She uttered the name with deliberate tenderness. "Isn't it simply the perfect name?" in remark of the discovery of one of Idaho's rarest plants. However, Blake, the object of her attention, seemed indifferent, scanning the property line without much interest. He purposefully ignored her attempts to engage him, adopting a demeanor akin to dealing with a tiresome child. The journey to the hillside's edge had already been tiring enough for Blake. Throughout the 2-hour hike, his female companion had ceaselessly narrated about trees, plants, rocks, rivers, and mountains with unwavering passion. Blake assumed the responsibility of keeping an eye on his younger sister in and around the Femalile farmhouse, where their parents languished in a haze of painkillers and alcohol. Nestled at the edge of national forest land in northern Idaho, their childhood had been filled with ventures into the wilderness, foraging for black walnuts, acorns, and various mushrooms to supplement their meager food supply. At 24, Avery possessed a captivating aura with her long red hair, light-toned skin, and sparkling blue eyes. Despite her innocent demeanor, she grappled with a challenge uncommon to most young women: a mild diagnosis of autism. Blake, somewhat bored, observed his sister as she danced and sang like a character from a Disney film, her dress gracefully fluttering in the wind. "Avery, it's time to go home," he called, prompting her to reluctantly cease her dancing, pick up her backpack filled with mushrooms and flowers, and follow him. While Blake harbored concerns, particularly about bears in the area, Avery seemed oblivious to the potential dangers. A recent incident involving a young black bear and an unattended 9-year-old girl not far from their home weighed heavily on Blake's mind. The girl was tragically found half-eaten in a thicket after being left alone to play in her sandbox in the backyard of the house from which she lived, unattended by her parents. This incident sparked a heightened fear of bears in the region. This fear, unfortunately, did not register with Avery. In her perception, bears were misunderstood creatures, gentle beings unjustly criticized. She felt a spiritual connection with them, as she did with the various animals and birds inhabiting the forest. Despite the looming fear in the region, Avery's perspective remained untouched by the prevailing anxiety, rooted in her deep understanding and connection with the natural world. The bear observed intently as the young woman ventured off into the Saturday evening alone. She danced up and down the hillside in the midst of flourishing flowers and weeds. It fixed its gaze upon her, captivated, as she twirled and sang in the fading sunlight. Saliva dripped from its mouth as her pale, smooth legs, scratched by thistles and thorns, unintentionally exposed themselves to the desperate creature. Avery, catching sight of the animal, gasped. However, instead of retreating cautiously, she turned towards it and approached. If only her brother Blake had been there to caution her on that fateful day, to watch over her. Yet he, in his usual Saturday night routine, had friends over, and that evening they indulged in smoking pot in his parents' pole barn. They lamented there about past relationships and bemoaned the challenges of advancing in a world governed by what they described as a conservative administration. It was a hideous way that Avery had to die that wicked evening, dancing in the twilight of her life, an untainted, innocent woman in the prime of her childbearing years. What a shameful waste it was to the future of this evil, cursed world, that her offspring never got to see the light of existence and bless the wicked world with their enchanted innocence. But a massive 600-pound male grizzly bear had its way with Avery that treacherous evening, its sheer power rendering Avery defenseless against its merciless onslaught. Meanwhile, Blake and his friends, shrouded in the haze of their consciousness from the pot-smoking session in the pole barn, were jolted into awareness by the piercing screams of death that echoed through the evening air. Stumbling out of the barn, they were drawn towards the haunting sounds, their disoriented senses struggling to comprehend the unfolding tragedy. The scene they stumbled upon was nothing short of horrific. The enormity of the situation sank in as they realized it was tragically too late to save the girl. The young, bewildered men stood there, confronted by the gruesome aftermath, a tableau of nature's brutality in the face of the relentless grizzly bear. Their only course of action was self-preservation, a chilling reminder of the helplessness that often accompanies encounters with the unforgiving forces of the wild. The echoes of Avery's screams lingered in the air, haunting their consciousness as they grappled with the grim reality before them. Jeez, what do you guys think about this story? I know it was kind of a short one, but I almost wanted to spare you the details of Avery's gruesome death in this one. But I would appreciate your input on these matters. I can't help but wonder if entertainment throughout the decades, Disney films, teddy bears, and so forth, have caused perhaps children to have a rather unjustifiable trust in dangerous animals such as bears, and perhaps they lose their cautiousness with the animals because of these forms of entertainment. But I really don't know. It's just speculation, but I know when I was a child I had several teddy bears, and it wasn't until I was an early teenager where I kind of picked up on the fact that they weren't just simply cuddly creatures entirely. But nonetheless, I'd appreciate to hear your thoughts on these matters, and thank you guys and gals for all your support on this channel as it has been growing, and a special thanks to my patrons and channel members for making these videos possible. So I'm about to research some more bear incidents, and I will be making more videos shortly, so stay tuned to this channel for more chilling tales from the Iceman.